Hi folks, this is Jay. Hope you're okay today. It's good to see you. We're looking at the scientific method today again, and I just want to share with you a couple of thoughts that I think are really important and valuable and needed today to say. First of all, let's just look at what the atheists said. The atheists want to build a society based on purely rational and scientific, principally the scientific method. Basically, this is the main thing that they go on about all the time. And the rhetoric is something like this: religion has been a bad force throughout history. Religion is a bad force now. We need the scientific method and rationalism at the centre of our societies. We confront religion, we show these people that they are not scientific, and as we show that their religion is not based on scientific method, then we show that we bring them into the realm of rationality, and the world is going to get a better place. And so they approach everything in this light. It's all this scientific, rational mentality. The first thing I want to say, if you live by the sword, you've got to die by the sword. If you're going to say this is all there is to life, is the scientific method. Now don't get me wrong, the scientific method is a wonderful thing, and by the way, it was Christianity that helped to develop the scientific method. It was the great Christian scientists and thinkers that paved the way and laid the foundation for the scientific method. For example, Francis Bacon, if it weren't for him writing on the how we reason and the way we reason, the way we investigate, we wouldn't have had the scientific method, and he was a Christian. And then you have Galileo and Copernicus and all these things. You should know about it by now, that they were Christian, but the atheists don't want you to know that. They keep that away from you. Anyhow, so if you live by the sword, you've got to die by the sword. So listen to this. Circumcision at birth can reduce chance of HIV. This is the Independent newspaper. It's a British newspaper. Alright, the Independent. The date for this one is Wednesday, 29th of August 2012. Independent newspaper, if you want to get it on the internet. Page 8. It says the health benefits of circumcising baby boys outweighs the risk associated with this procedure, according to leading pediatricians. New guidance from the US will reignite debate on the subject, which has pitted faith groups against opponents of religion who have described the operation as genital mutilation. The American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, which had previously opposed the routine circumcision of newborns, said the benefits of newborn male circumcision justify access to this procedure for those families who choose it, the Academy said. The recommendation follows research showing that circumcision reduces the chances of contracting sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. It can also lower the chance of urinary tract infection and penis cancer. In Britain, the procedure for religious or other non-therapeutic reasons is considered legal, provided that both parents consent. It is estimated around 30,000 boys are circumcised each year in the UK. In guidance published in 2006, the British Medical Association said it had no policy on the issue because of the absence of consistent medical data on the implications of the intervention. However, it said doctors were under no obligation to comply with the parents' request to circumcise a child. In the US, where nearly half of newborn males, about 1 million per year, are circumcised, the practice is on the wane. But a recent study projected that continued decline could add more than $4 billion in healthcare costs due to increased illness and infections. So there we are. That's the Independent newspaper. It's not some kind of radical newspaper. It's a general newspaper in England, saying there is scientific evidence to say that circumcision is a good thing. So with that being the case, atheist, I suspect that you being these scientific people of the scientific rational mode will be en masse getting circumcised this week. So I hope to get information and emails of thousands, tens of thousands of Circumcised Atheist in the next few weeks, and at next year's Reason Rally, I hope that you all rationally follow this information, because it is scientifically verifiable, that in the next year, when you have your Reason Rally, Thunderfoot and all the people on the platform will have been circumcised, and all the people who were there had have been circumcised. Okay? So I hope that's the case, and woe betide you if you're not, because you're going to be anti-rational, anti-scientific if you don't get circumcised. All right. So that's just one example of the absurdity of these atheists and their scientific rational method. All right. The second thing is, you know, let's just ask you a question as atheists. What is the most fundamental thing that you believe? Fundamentally. Alright? The thing that's fundamentally most dear to you. Alright? Have you got it? It should be a person, by the way, that you love. Some person that you really, really love. That you really, really care about. Alright? This person who you care about, is it based on the scientific method? I mean, when you go to see your wife, when you're making love to your wife, do you sit there going, I'm going to analyse her and do a psychological profile on her? Or to your husband? Or the person that you love? No. Your love for the person that you love is not based on the scientific method. The most fundamental thing that's important to you is not based on the scientific method. You love them because you love them. There's no scientific reason. It's just you do. And if you start to analyse it scientifically, you need to go in a nut house. If you start saying, dear wife, I'm just going to analyse our marriage on the basis of the scientific method, she give you a slap in the face. Or if you say on the marriage anniversary, I think I'm just going to go and have a bit of a scientific report on our marriage, she give you a slap in the face. Or your husband will give you a slap in the face. Whatever, you know. You don't base your marriage or your relationship on the scientific method. And it's a fundamental thing in your life, the central thing in your life. So this idea that the scientific method has to be everything, it's just not true. Alright? Another example is everybody's got contradictions in their own life. Everybody's got irrational things in their life. So this idea that these people go around, these atheists, and they're so rational and they base everything in their life as rational, is just a contradiction. For example, look at what's his name, Bertrand Russell. There's a rational man. There's a man who based everything on reason. He was banging another woman instead of his wife. How rational was that? How scientifically based was that? Banging another woman. While he had a wife, he was banging another woman up against a tree. How rational was that? That weren't rational. That weren't scientific. That was because he's got hot coals in his pants and he couldn't keep his pecker where he should. That's just an example where these atheists are so dogmatic about this rationalism that we are rational, and we're just going to show you Christians that you're not rational. We've looked at 3 areas. We've looked at science is showing that circumcision is good, but are the atheists following that? Are the atheists getting circumcised? No. So they're hypocrites. We've looked at the very foundation of their life. The thing that's most important to them, the person that they love, whoever that be, their grandma, their mother, their child, their wife, their husband, is not based on the rational method. So they're contradicting themselves. And then we've looked at just one example of an intellectual, a great intellectual like Bertrand Russell, who is supposedly rational and reasonable and based on the scientific method, and the guy couldn't keep his pecker in his pants, and that was nothing to do with the rational, and that was nothing to do with the scientific. It was just because he wanted to sow his wild oats. Okay? So don't go around, atheists, attacking Christianity on the basis of rationalism and the scientific method, as if you are these purer than pure people who base everything on reason and rationality, because in 3 areas I've shown that you don't. But I'll put a 4th one. Think about poetry. Think about the great poets. Think about Wordsworth. Think about all the great poets. Was that based on the scientific method? Was Byron and Keats, was Wordsworth. Some of them might have been influenced by science, but when they wrote their poetry, it was not based on science. It was based on feeling and inspiration, or the human spirit's inspiration of seeing whatever they see in their in beauty or emotions or whatever. But it weren't based. They didn't write on the basis of the scientific method. All right, they just wrote poetry. All right. So in other words, reality is not just the scientific method. It's important. It's central. It plays a central role in our lives and society. Awesome. But it's not the be-all and end-all. And you can't live completely by it. You can't live just, you know, Jesus said we live by, you know, not by bread alone, but by the word of God. Alright? You can't live on science alone. You've got to have other things as well. Alright? You've got to have poetry. You've got to realize you can be inconsistent, like Bertrand Russell didn't realize it. Alright? You've got to realize you can build anything with science in terms of morality. You've got to realize that everybody's cherry picking about what they want to accept about science or not in terms of morality. Like you're picking and choosing with circumcision. It's scientifically verified, but you ain't going to get circumcised, are you? Why? Not because it's based on science, because you've got a prejudice towards it. That's why. Do you get what I mean? Life's full of contradictions, atheists. I'm full of contradictions. But you know what? You're full of contradictions. And the fact and the delusion that you think that you're not full of contradictions and that you are these pure rational people with pure rational ideas and thoughts is just not true to reality. That's all I'm showing, atheists. So take care. Please let me know how many people get circumcised, atheists, at the Reason Rally. It would be interesting to know how many of you will be circumcised. If you're logically consistent, everyone from Aronra to Dawkins and to Thunderfoot, and you should be circumcised by the time you get to Reason Rally next year, because you are the rational, you are the people with the scientific method. Yeah, cool guys, girls. God bless you, atheists. Love you. Take care. This is Jay, coming out of atheism and going for a lovely day with my family today. Take care. God bless. Love you all. Check out The Cross and the Atheism. That's quintessential Jay. If you want to know who Jay is, you want to know what I'm trying to do, go to The Cross of Christ and Atheism. That is quintessential, hardcore Jay. That is what Jay's all about. Take care. Love you all. God bless you. Love to all the hardcore atheists out there. You know what? Don't mess with Jay. You get the wrath of Jay. But not only do you get the wrath of Jay, you get the sweetness of Jay. And you've had the sweetness of Jay today. God bless you. Love you all. Take care.